If you're just tuning in, we are broadcasting live from the NEWSEUM, the Museum of News and Media, right here in the heart of Washington, D.C. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, as well as on our website, voanews.com. Send or tweet us your questions, and we will gladly ask our guests. Now to the Washington Insiders. Let's welcome our panel. We are honored to have Jennifer Palmieri, a scholar at the Center for American Progress, who was White House Deputy Press Secretary during the Clinton administration and a national spokesperson for the Democratic Party. We have Stuart Rothenberg, who is a well-known political analyst, editor, and publisher of the Rothenberg Political Report, a nonpartisan political newsletter covering the U.S. Congress and presidential politics. We also have Bill Schneider with us, who was a CNN senior political analyst and now teaches public policy at George Mason University and is a senior fellow and resident scholar at Third Way. We're also pleased to welcome Michelle Bernard, President and CEO of the Independent Women's Forum and an MSNBC political analyst. Welcome.
Thanks.
Well, the first question, very, very obvious question, is to Jennifer Palmieri. President Barack Obama recently said that he has done a lot of things that most of the Americans don't know about. Is that true? And whose problem is that? Is it White House? Is it media?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that it seems akin to me to be to the BP oil spill in the Gulf, which was that as long as oil was still spewing from that well, it didn't matter how much the president talked about it or visited New Orleans or how many administration people were working on it. As long as it was still spewing oil, people didn't think he was doing enough. And I think that as long as they had a recovery bill that helped prevent us from going into depression, they did the health care bill. But I think as long as we're perceived as not creating jobs fast enough, people are going to think that he hasn't done enough. So I think it's honestly a policy results problem, but communications plays into it.
Well, speaking of communication problem, Bill Schneider, I have a question for you. I've been an international broadcaster in Washington for over 7 years, and I do broadcasts to Central Asia. Voice of America brings the global picture to its audiences all around the world, but my observation here is that most of the American public don't seem to know much about the rest of the world.
That's exactly right. Though CNN tries to bring them the rest of the world, I think most of what it does is bring the United States and its news to the rest of the world, which is interested in us. American interest in the rest of the world is, let's say, limited. It certainly wasn't a big factor in this election. We were at 2 wars, Iraq, Afghanistan.
But why is that?
Why is that? Well, of course, Americans are interested when Americans are fighting and dying. And both of those wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, do not have much public support. Because there's a perception that Americans are fighting and dying in Afghanistan to save a government that steals elections. That's not good. But when the economy is bad, as it is now and has been for 2 years, the economy is the issue. Nothing else matters. And so this election had nothing to do with foreign policy.
Well, Americans seem angry. They seem to be angry with their president, with the Democrats, with the media, and in some ways with the world too. Why? Is this, and then we also saw a lot of fear and throughout the campaign. Will this continue?
I think Americans are angry because there's a lot of bad news. Republicans are certainly angry. They're angry at the direction of the country and the president's agenda. I think for independent voters, swing voters, it's more a sense of frustration and dissatisfaction with the results, as Jennifer suggested. It is all about how people feel. And right now they feel as though things are not getting better. They've gotten worse, in fact, over the last 2 years, and that means they want change. And so the focus is all very domestically, and as Bill suggests, it's about the economy. Bill, I think there's one other thing is I think it's part of American history that we look inward. You know, when you go to Europe and you can be in another country in 20 minutes, it's a little different. So we're just very inward, and when the economy is in bad shape, it turns us even inward more.
You know, the Constitution says the president is commander-in-chief of the military. That's not true of any other leader in the world. But Americans also behave as if he is commander-in-chief of the economy. You know what? He's not. Nobody is commander-in-chief of the economy. But if the economy is going badly, they hold the president responsible because they think that's his job.